France's Constitutional Council has approved key elements of a controversial pension reform plan.
The reforms that raise the retirement age to 64 sparked weeks of nationwide protests and strikes. Demonstrations broke out yesterday in cities across the country ahead of the ruling, and Paris police have banned all gatherings outside the court through Saturday morning.
CBS News correspondent Elaine Cobb joins us now from Paris. Elaine, what are you seeing on the ground there in Paris right now from the protesters?
Well, it's only just after the Constitutional Council said that it was accepting the reform bill to allow the retirement age to be raised to 64. A protest had been called for this time, so people are just getting together now, digesting what it all means and trying to work out what to do next. So the protesters very much looking at exactly what this will mean for them. Some elements of the reform bill will not go through, but the key one, raising the age to 64, will go through. And that's the thing that most people were angry about. So it remains to be seen if the unions decide to keep going tonight or to try to organise more protests ahead of May 1st, which is Labour Day here, in which they've already said will be a big day for protests about these pension reforms.
Does this decision essentially mean that this is a done deal, this pension reform, or could this continue to go through more fights?
Well, there could be more fighting, but President Macron and his government have said all along that they are determined to push through the pension reforms. So now that they have the Constitutional Council saying that the bill itself is sound, there's no reason for them to stop, barring a major disaster. And that means that as of this September, the new ages will start to roll in gradually, so that it's 3 months extra every 3 months, so that in 2 years' time, 64 will be the new retirement age. Anyone who was going to hit retirement over the next 2 years will hit it several months later in a staggered rollout.
If that's the case, Elaine, then with things moving forward, are demonstrations expected to continue in the coming weeks?
Well, Elaine, I think the unions will be deciding tonight what they want to do. They had already said that they weren't going to give up no matter what the Constitutional Council said. So now they have to decide, what are we going to fight for? Do we fight for parts of the reform to be removed? Do we fight to demand that the government drop it all, which would require major protests to effectively say the government is too weak to keep going? That was a bit more likely some weeks ago. Now it's hard to know just how strong the feeling will be. Many people who are out protesting said, look, if this just goes through now, then maybe, we'll just give up. And others were saying, no, absolutely, we're determined to keep going until the government stops. And as I said, May 1st, Labour Day, is a day that we're expecting a major turnout of people against the pension reforms, and certainly the unions will be hoping that that will happen. President Macron has called on the unions to meet with him from Tuesday in the hope of discussing the wider issue of labour reforms that he wants to situate the pension reforms within.
All right, a lot to watch in the coming weeks. Elaine Cobb in Paris. Elaine, thank you.